Relationship violence can happen anytime. Relationship violence can happen to anyone. Relationship violence comes at a cost. Emotional, physical, psychological, financial.
Not long ago, we were traveling east on Interstate 70, just east of St. Louis, and it's about 8 o'clock at night. We look ahead and we see what we think are deer going back and forth across the highway. And as we came closer to the situation, we quickly realized that it wasn't deer. Instead, it was a young girl being chased by a young man. He had pulled over and had started to hit her, beat her up, and threatening to kill her. So we got her into our car, into a safe place, and discovered that she was 17. Her name is Rachel. She was so terrified that she was willing to run down the middle of Interstate 70 to escape the violence. It's not so much about us being there that evening, it's about Safe Connections being there for the community.
We know that 1 in 4 college women are sexually abused during their years on college campuses. Each year, 8.8 million kids witness domestic violence. Each year, $4.1 billion are spent on medical and mental health care due to relationship violence. Safe Connections works to reduce the impact and incidence of relationship violence through education, crisis intervention, counseling, and support services.
Safe, because it describes the environment that we intentionally create for all who come to our door.
Safe because it describes the caring and professional environment that we create for those seeking support.
Connections, because that's what we do. We connect people with resources, with information, with support, with each other, and with hope.
We have 3 major programs at Safe Connections. The first is our crisis support program.
Women who suffer abuse just feel fearful. They're afraid to talk about what happened to them to anyone, including their friends or their family. The crisis line is a great way for her to have someone to speak to and feel supported, yet also feel that their information is being kept private.
The crisis helpline at Safe Connections is answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by staff, graduate students, and by trained volunteers.
One call that definitely meant a lot to me, her husband who was being abusive to her, and she also had children involved in the manner who were told by her husband that mom's getting beat up because she's doing everything wrong and, like, you know, she's stupid, or like he basically turned her kids against her. By you being like that listening ear, you're supporting her, just, you know, letting her get out her frustration.
We are all connected in our commitment to end the violence. We are connected through our family relationships, our friendships, our workplaces, and our communities. We are connected through our mothers, our grandmothers, our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, the women in our lives.
Our second program is Counseling and Support Services, where we provide individual counseling free of charge to women ages 14 and older who've experienced a range of abuse. That can include domestic violence, rape, physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, or childhood sexual abuse.
People are frequently quite shocked to hear I grew up in an abusive situation, especially when they hear my dad was a preacher. He'd yell, he'd scream. By the time I was 5, I knew never to ever wake him up for any reason. When I was about 7, we came to St. Louis so that he could take a position at a small church. One of the elders in that church was a pedophile. I sank into a depression when I was around 14, attempted against my life at 15, and had my first admit to a psych unit at 16. I finally was able to get an apartment of my own that fit my budget, but I still knew there was something inside of me that I could not fix on my own. I was still broken in a way I didn't know how to fix. So I talked to my caseworker, and she referred me to Safe Connections. I was assigned to a therapist. You know, there were times I hated that woman. She made me say things I didn't want to say, think things I didn't want to think about, do things I didn't want to do, and I got better. close to 2 years every Wednesday, 10 a.m., and I got better. Now I'm doing really, really well. I'm very active in my church. I'm a full-time student. And probably most important, I've got a really strong, healthy relationship with my dad.
Therapy service plans at Safe Connections, we try to focus on coping skills, relationship issues, safety planning, and generally working toward a violence-free future.
It's really important that women, participate in a support group because they can hear things from support group members that a therapist just can't say. They may not have friends or family members that they're connected with, so a support group can provide them with just that additional support that they may not get anywhere else. We offer a wide range of support groups here at Safe Connections, and these services are all free of charge. I was in a group recently where a woman was talking about her situation, and she was sharing that she had left and she had decided to go back, and really kind of getting down on herself and calling herself stupid. And everyone in the group is saying, no, you're not stupid. We talk about that in the group, that we're not here to tell you what to do, but we're really here to help you to figure out what's best for you. And she was able to hear from other women in the group who have experienced different types of abuse, or maybe similar forms of abuse as she has, but she knows that I'm not alone.
Adolescents are at the highest risk for relationship violence. Safe Connections offers a relationship violence prevention program, Project Heart, and counseling and support groups specifically for teenage girls.
Project Heart is a relationship violence prevention curriculum. The program consists of a series of workshops which include topics such as healthy relationships, teen dating violence, confronting sexual harassment, and bystander intervention. I remember a specific story of a little girl that I worked with. She was in middle school. Her cousin's boyfriend was trying to do inappropriate things to her. And she's like, well, he keeps touching me and slapping my butt, and it had gotten to the point where he had actually pinned her down on the bed and was trying to do things to her, and her cousins had come in and broken it up, so she got away. I proceeded to tell her, it's not your fault, you're not doing this to yourself, people are doing these to you. But your homework assignment is to go home and tell Mom. She started crying, and I was like, Mom's gonna be mad, she's gonna be upset, but she's not gonna be mad at you, she's gonna be mad at the situation. And she's like, you promise? I was like, I promise. So I gave her my business card, and I told her, whatever you do, either way that it goes, even if you decide not to tell Mom, I want you to call me in a couple days and let me know how you're doing. She says, Miss Corey, this is Jasmine. I just wanted to tell you that I told my mother and you was right. I'm really glad you came to talk to us. You're a great person, and thank you for everything. I know you'll do good things in the future, and I hope it's blessed for you. Well, thanks, Miss Corey, you was right. You're pretty good at this stuff. I hope to see you next year.
What men need to do is stand up and say enough is enough. I have a mom, I have a wife, I have sisters, and I have daughters. All my effort, time, money is worth it.
Safe Connections is so very proud to be working to reduce the incidence and the impact of relationship violence and sexual assault through crisis intervention, counseling, support services, and prevention education. On behalf of Rachel, the young girl who was running for her life down Interstate 70, and on behalf of those who call and get a live voice, a safe place to land at 2 o'clock in the morning, and on behalf of the women who receive no-cost counseling, and on behalf of the kids, the young girls and young boys who now have an opportunity to learn about healthy relationship development, thanks for being part of our mission.